guys, so MagicCon, we're like just over a week away from it all starting. I will get through the Thursday before MagicCon, so I'm really excited to be up there, be in Chicago, and then see a lot of you guys and play some Magic. But today, welcome to MTG Tuesday's Tips and Tricks. I want to kind of talk some more about convention MagicCon, things to think about to get you prepared and ready for MagicCon. So don't overpack, like don't bring 50 decks, like unless you're me that has an event that I have to run that I need a bunch of decks. Don't bring 50 decks, realistically. Just know that. Honestly, probably bringing 4 to 6 decks is probably enough. Depending, if you play CDH, bring 1 or 2 CDH decks, bring a couple casual decks. Don't worry about precons. If you want to play precon, just go buy one. There's lots of precons you can buy or pick up or do in events that you can get precons in and stuff. So that's my thought on it. Now granted, you may have more decks than that. I'm saying commander decks, but if you're want to play, so like I'm bringing like a total of my personal decks. If I'm not including the decks I'm building for my standard event, I'm bringing probably 4 or 5 commander decks. I haven't nailed the number down. It's either 4 or 5, maybe 6. It might end up being 6. And I'm bringing 1 for each format. So 1 standard, 1 pioneer, and 1 modern deck. That way I can have those decks to play with people. I might bring a couple extras. It just depends on my spacing and stuff like that. But, don't overdo it. And then, like, my goal is I will have those decks with me, but every day I will rotate. Like, my 3 decks that'll stay with me will always be, like, the standard, pioneer, modern. But then I'll have some other decks with me that are the commander decks that I'll bring with me every single day. Probably 3 to 4 every day. The first day I'm there, I probably won't have as many commander decks just because I know for the fact that I'm going to be running the standard event. So I won't have time really on Monday to really play commander that much. I might have a little bit maybe before the show starts, but I don't know. It just depends on how that goes. But just don't bring too many decks and then you never play any of them. So my first event, I brought every single deck I own. Now granted, I drove there. So in my hotel room, I had all of my commander decks. But then like the first day I was carrying around my big old case thing, one of those like Stanleys, carrying it around and going everywhere with it. And I finally got tired of that. So then every day I started bringing like a couple decks that at lunchtime go switch. It's a little bit different, unless you're staying like right beside the place or whatever, or you've parked there, then maybe you can go and get your decks, bring them back in and out. Just know, like, prepare for each day, pack your decks you want. I'd recommend always having some snacks with you as well. Like, you can get food there at the place, but have you some, like, Slim Jims or something you like, some beef jerky, some granola bars, some stuff like that are easiest to quick and easiest to get in, because sometimes you might get busy and be in an event and not be able to break away to get lunch or get something, and anyone's blood sugar getting too low or people passing out or having problems, and you want your brain to be able to function as well, because when your blood sugar and all that stuff gets low, it can mess with your head. So make sure to bring some snacks with you. You can get food there. It's plenty easy. I would also recommend bringing some kind of water bottle where you can fill it up. They have different stations where you can fill water bottles and stuff like that. That way you can, keep yourself hydrated during the events and stuff like that. But just make sure you know what you're doing. Have your events, have your schedule, and don't over event yourself where you have to like sprint from one thing to the next and might miss it, because then you're going to be kind of sad about missing events and stuff like that if you do that. So be very, very careful how you line your events up. You definitely will want to make sure your events are lined up where you can get to them and have plenty of time to get there, have time to, take breaks in between to breathe for a second, grab you a bite to eat, all of this stuff. Know who you want to go sit and meet and greet with. Know that some people, their meet and greets will be longer than other people. So the bigger the person's following probably on YouTube, more likely the bigger their meet and greet line is going to be. That's just to be completely said. So if you got people you want to meet, just keep that in mind, that it may take you a minute to get there and everything. Also, if you want to buy product, I would recommend either getting there first thing in the morning or doing that later in the afternoon, especially if you're not like, there's certain specific things you're not like, I have to have this. Like first day, go try to get the stuff you want to buy, because if not, it might be sold out and they might run out of it. The biggest ones that they sometimes run out of are the festivals in a box. Sometimes those run out pretty quickly, so just keep that in mind. When going there, you may need to get there super early and line up early. Or if you don't care about that and you're just like, I'm here to have fun, then go for it. But the biggest thing is have fun, enjoy it. There's lots of fun to have. There's lots of things to do. Hopefully you guys will stop by Friday from 10:30 to 4:30 by the booth to the Ruby tables in Creator Central to play Standard with myself and several other creators that'll be there. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Check out different creators have their schedules, so like feel free to find us. A lot of us are going to be in like Creator Central or walking around the floor, and you don't be afraid to come talk to people, no matter how big or how small the person is. Don't be like, oh, I don't know if I want to talk. Like, come up to approach them nicely, gently, like, hey, you're such and such, right? Correct. If you want to make sure with your furniture, like, oh, thank you so much. You've got people like Brian Kibler and like big following people that, sometimes they may be like, hey, I can sit and talk for a second, but let's walk and talk, but also be respectful of their time because they may have an event they're trying to get to or a thing that they have to be a part of. But a lot of times people are a lot of the creators I've met are pretty cool about you coming up, talking to them, trying to get games with them. You see them sitting at a table, just approach them respectfully. I know that that they may have events and stuff like that, but just go up and talk to them. Don't be afraid to be like, hey man, how you doing? They may be like, hey, I'm trying to eat lunch. If they're sitting there trying to eat lunch, don't go up and create a stir in a line to see if they're a bigger creator because they themselves probably are trying to grab lunch before they run off to their next event. If you see me eating lunch, feel free to stop by, sit down, and eat lunch with me. I don't mind. I will probably be devouring stuff quickly and running around, but I'm going to have fun. I'm looking forward to it. Find your events. Find what you want to do. Have fun. There's lots of stuff to do. I'm mostly going to be in Creator Central the entire time, up and around there looking for games. I haven't decided if I'm going to do an event Saturday night or not. I might do the Last Commander Standing. I haven't decided just yet. I'm waiting to kind of see on a couple things. I may do it last minute and jump in and see if I can throw Kenan in there and see how Kenan does. We'll see. We'll see on that. But just remember, have fun. Enjoy it. Make sure to take the time to do the things you want to do. Get your list ready and be like, okay, I want to go see artists on this day. I want to go see this person on this day. I want to go and get yourself a list and know what you're going to do. Have yourself set in and have fun. Don't overpack. Don't go too crazy. You can bring a big backpack, but don't overload it where you're just like, oh, because trust me, if you're standing in line for a long period of time and you have to have that backpack on your back on the floor and lugging around, you can get tired of it. So I have, and I recommend the Jank Mats has a really cool little backpack I'm going to probably be carrying around while I'm in the event. I might bring my big backpack as well so I can have some extra decks and stuff with me, but it's not going to be as big and as packed as it was last time. Let's put it that way. I know that for a fact. So you learn when you go. And if you have questions, feel free to put in a comment like, hey, what about this? What about this? Let me know. I do my best. This is going to be my second actual MagicCon. First one in Chicago, so I don't know exactly how the layout of Chicago is, but I can give you a rough idea of how things go. And looking forward to seeing many of you guys there. Feel free to stop by and see us as we're out playing games, stuff like that. Be looking to play games all Saturday and all Sunday as well, for the most part. Friday, maybe later in the evening, I might be free, but I don't know just yet because basically until 4:30 I have the event, and then from 5 to 7 or 8 I am occupied as well, and then after that in the evening, I'm not sure, but we'll try to hit as many of you guys up and see as many people as possible. Thank you guys so much for being here. As always, we'll see you at MagicCon.